in the history of humankind. Think about how many people you follow on Instagram, Barry, right? And they have like 50,000, 100,000 followers, and they say, hey, this is a fake account, please report it to the Instagram police, right? Because the value of personal brand has never been higher today. And in order to do that with other things, you want to amplify this. I am going to be going back on the podcast I told you guys before. This is, important for me. It's great to be able to do this, and it's great for people to listen to my voice. Some people like to listen to my voice, and people don't. But it is a skill set that you acquire. But if you're working with the right people, if you're refined, you can actually turn you into someone that's probably kind of more interesting than you would have thought you would have been. And for someone that I've known for about 7 years right now, Sebastian Rusk lives here in Coral Gables. Yeah, in Coral Gables. And he is the preeminent authority as it comes to putting together everything that relates to a podcast so that you guys are set off for faster success. You can always do it yourself. You can always do your legal docs yourself, but where's that going to get you, right? You can always write your book yourself, and some of you are with ChatGPT, you can do that. But if you want to get on the fast route, what you do is you want to work with professionals and leverage them. That's exactly what I did. Putting together docs for the fund, even the website. We're working with branding people with a company we invested into called 25 Madison to help with this. So, in order to get to success today, you can't, it's easier to do it yourself, but the trial and error can kill you over time. You don't want to be a pioneer with arrows in your backs, right? This has already been done. If you're starting out, you want to be able to make sure that you have a strong brand.
Audio's good.
I want to introduce Sebastian, my close friend. I haven't seen him in years. He's close. We never did lunch. But Sebastian is here to talk. Come on up. Great. I am going to pen this loud and clear for everyone.
Thanks, Sal.
Yeah, you can stand.
I'm going to move this.
Yeah. Stand where you see with it.
He was like, do you want to sit down? I'm like, people do that?
No. Here you go. Right here, if you can see the screen, is where it was. Perfect. Let's get this out.
Anybody else need to leave early? I cleared the room out when I got here.
No. We got people online for you.
Good. Well, it's great to be here. Sal, thanks for having me. It's been way too long, and I'll consider this a catch-up session on here. So It's great to be with everybody. My name's Sebastian Rusk. I'm a speaker, comedian, and podcaster. All terrible career choices, but I got lucky. And my journey started about 15 years ago. I met a guy by the name of Gary Vaynerchuk. Some of you might have heard of him. And the early days, and I quickly learned what the world of personal branding was back in 2010. And he said, Sebastian, your personal brand in perpetuity is your reputation. And I never forgot that, because at that time, that's all I had was my reputation and my ability to get out and create content. So the next six years, in 2010 we started, and I'd launch an online media outlet, which became a social media agency. So I would cover live events, and I'd come and create content, and then I'd host a boot camp very similar to this type of setting. And then people would say, well, maybe I should start a Facebook page for my business. And then she just kind of organically started to happen. I wrote a book called Social Media Sucks. If you don't know what you're doing, in 2013, to really document that whole story of moving back to Miami in 2008 when the market crashed with a duffel bag and my daughter. I was a full-time single dad with friends in low places. Had a buddy that owned a rental property in The View right around the corner here. And he said, here's a check, here's the keys to the place, just get back here and let's figure it out. So that's exactly what I did. I'm real grateful for that opportunity. And in 2010, I said, I have been online in the social media space since the beginning. I need to figure this out. So I decided I wanted to go see Tony Robbins and unleash the giant within, right? Because 2008, 2010, that was a rough patch. I was a degenerate. I just drank beer on my balcony and looked at this view every day and thought, well, I guess this is it.
Hey, I do that too.
I do too, but it's good beer now. That was, no more Natty Ice. So I called a friend that worked for Tony at the time, and I said, hey, I want to go to Unleash the Power Within. She gives me all the details, and I hung up the phone. I was like, cool, I got $6 to my name, but I guess I'll figure it out. And she calls me back an hour later, and she goes, I totally forgot that my best friend lives on Miami Beach, and she is part of Tony's core team of 6 people. She travels the world with him. And I think you should meet up with her. Now, at this time, you talk about imposter syndrome. I'm thinking, what in the world could I possibly do for somebody on Tony Robbins' core team? And I thought, what, Sebastian, let's just lean into this. So she makes an introduction. I connect with this individual on a phone call that week, and we meet up on Miami Beach. She's like, hey, let's meet at Smith & Walensky's. I was like, hey, let's meet at TGI Fridays. So we did just that. And she's like, oh, okay, TGI Fridays. Because my buddy was like, where are you going to meet? I go, we're going to go to Smith's. He's like, listen, man, if she has more than 2 drinks and she's hungry, you're going to be doing dishes.
Yeah.
So we did a little audible there, went to TGI Fridays. And as we're sitting there on Ocean Drive, I remember it like it was yesterday. She looks at me and she says, so Sebastian, what's next? And I said, I don't know. And she looks at me and I quote, and she said, that is a fucking problem. Now, these are my offended days, right? So I'm thinking, who is this chick to tell me what I'm doing with my life is a problem? And I'm like, you got $6 to your name. Shh, stay curious, ask her a question. So I said, so what do you mean? She goes, I'll tell you exactly what I mean. Let me ask you another question. And this is where it all changed. She said, who's missing out? Because you're not showing up. And I thought, wow. Degenerate phase over. I got to do something. She goes, I've known you 5 minutes and I can tell that you already possess a talent that could do great things online with social media and a YouTube channel. That Monday morning, Social Buzz TV was born. I had a logo and I had a polo and I had a skateboard and a bus pass and I had a burning desire to figure it out. And I did. And over the next 6 years, I would grow that agency into a 6-figure agency, and then I got to a point where I hated what I did. Very labor intensive. Here today, gone tomorrow. Facebook doesn't work. Where are my clients coming from? They love you one day, they're gone the next. It's this constant hunt. So I went on a journey to figure out me. Here we go again. Let's figure out a little bit more of Sebastian. So I spent the latter part of 2016. Met a girl on a dating app, oddly enough. I'm going somewhere with all this, I promise, guys. And she got me into this course that I took. And I was so resistant, which we usually are when it's time to really go in and figure this out. I don't know about that. But I did it, and I came out of it on the other side. She broke up with me in the middle of it, so clearly her job was to get me through those doors, and that was it. And I came out of that, I learned how to love myself. I didn't realize how important that was in business and life. And I also became fully accountable for my life, past, present, and future. That every single thing that happened in my life is happening in my life and will happen in my life is all my fault. And there was so much freedom available there. So after all of that, towards the end of 2016, I said, all right, time to dust myself off again. Let's go get a desk and a co-working space in Coral Gables. So I did that. Ran into an old friend who had an internet radio show. I said, what the hell is that? Oh, well, we have it, we do this. And she couldn't explain it to me. I said, just time out. Is it working? And she's like, well, I go, listen, it's not that difficult. You can start a podcast, Another moment where it all changed. She goes, I don't know how to do that. As I'm walking her down to her car, I'll never forget, she poked me in the chest. She goes, why don't you create a solution to help people start a podcast? Antennas went up. Because I wanted to leave the digital marketing space, but still stay in it. Hello, oxymoron. I had built a brand. I'd written a book. I'd established myself as an authority in the space, but I hated the work I did. Podcasting was my ticket out. I went back upstairs to my rented desk. I took out 2 sheets of paper and I would map out what would become the Podcast Launch Lab, a turnkey podcast launch solution to take you from idea to iTunes in 90 days or less with our proven podcast launch solution. That was the November of 2016. I literally have not looked back since at all. It's just gotten better and better and better. Friends, I'm here to tell you one thing today. If you don't take anything else from this, podcasting will radically change your life and your business if you let it. Why am I qualified to say something like that? Because I'm living proof. I live it every single day. But more importantly, I get to see people do it. And that's the beautiful part of the work I do. Anybody can put a podcast together. It's not that difficult. Read my book. But it's who you get to become in the process. So why do you start a podcast? Why do I need to start a podcast? I firmly believe it's 3 things. And it may not be what you think. First of all, it has nothing to do with downloads and numbers and who's listening, all these vanity metrics that are just ego strokes. If those numbers are not driving business, who cares? Here's 3 reasons why you start a podcast. Number 1, to network with people that you want to build a relationship with, number one. To network and interview people that you want to do deals with. That's why we're in this room right now. Figure out how to get more deals done. Build more relationships, right? Hey, Bob, I'd love to get you on the podcast. No, we're not talking about deals. We're talking about Bob and what you do. I want to stroke your ego, make you feel incredible. No one says no to that. We all have egos. We all like them stroked. Podcast is an incredible way to do that. Second reason, a podcast allows you to get your social media content in game and consistent because of the podcast. 1 30-minute episode, multiple pieces of micro content, reels, shorts, TikTok, you name it. Allows you to accomplish those objectives because of the podcast. Working smarter, not harder. And then lastly, become a better communicator. People's number one fear, public speaking. Number 2, dying. Riddle me that one. When you become a podcaster, you're forcing yourself into the game. You're forcing yourself to get some reps in. You're forcing yourself to say, I'm on camera. I'm speaking into a camera. I have a microphone in front of me. We tend to let that inner critic tone down a bit. That inner critic's something else. I'm gonna sound like shit, look like shit. Remember that time in 3rd grade, everybody laughed at me. I forgot my lines in the school play. I often remind people, as elementary as it sounds, you can do it. You're allowed to. Yes, you can. You got to give yourself permission to do that. Gosh, Sebastian, what is this? 5th grade? No, sometimes we need to go back to 5th grade and be reminded of the basics, that we can do something. Because somewhere along the line, someone told us that we couldn't do something, and we believed them. And then we started to live our lives according to that. And we take it a step further. We started to enroll other people in that process of a story that's not even true. Podcasting allows you to step into an authentic version of yourself and a new version. Anybody down for a new version of themselves? I don't know about you. I'm constantly looking for that on a daily basis. It reminds me of the story of Michelangelo creating the statue of David. Some of you might have heard this story, and if so, you're going to hear it again. But people were in awe of the statue of David. My gosh, how could you create something so beautiful? To which Michelangelo replied, I didn't create the statue of David. I simply chipped away at everything that wasn't David on a daily basis, and David appeared. Now, a lot of this gets a little woo and like life. What does that do with podcasting? Because podcasting has a lot to do with life. Life has a lot to do with podcasting, vice versa. Business has a lot to do with life. Life has a lot to do with business. Social media has changed the entire landscape of how we do business. This whole I'm not online anymore. Probably question someone's character and how they're showing up when they say I'm not online. I used to say if you're not on social media, you're shady. A lot of people don't use it. I dream of the day I no longer need it. But it is where the eyeballs are at. It's where the attention's at. But more importantly, it's where the bridge is being gapped. Cold emails, phone calls. Yeah, I guess some of it could work. But in my experience, inviting someone to sit down and have an intelligent conversation about them and what they do changes everything. I met Sal at a gig I had in San Diego 7 years ago, and here we are in Miami at a gigantic law firm on a Friday afternoon with some great human beings. All because of relationships. I said that on my way in. I posted, speaking of social media, I posted a story going in, and I said, as I go in to do this gig this afternoon, I'm reminded that it's not about who you know, so much more about who knows you. And people don't know you if you're not showing up. Now, does anybody have a podcast in here? Let's start there.
I'm starting one.
There we go. Excellent.
I have one.
Okay. All right. Sal used to have one.
Yeah, I used to. Who said they have one over here?
We have one,
Oh.
me and Hills.
Oh yeah, you do have one?
In 2022, we made 7 episodes.
Congratulations.
Nice.
And then Podfade said it. That happens.
Hey, it's better than the people who don't have one.
Yeah, no.
This is true.
It was a lot of work.
This is correct. So let's talk about that for a second, because people say, Sebastian, what's the biggest mistake people make when starting a podcast? I go, they try to do all the work themselves. I can change the oil in my car. Well, not anymore. I have an EV. I went Democrat. I'm a comedian. Take it easy. No, but I could change the oil in my car if I really wanted to. I can also go around the corner to Jiffy Lube, give them $50 and be out of there in 10 minutes. When you just focus on doing what you do, which is I just record the episodes, myself or my team uploads the raw content to Sebastian's team, and I move on with my day. And the next thing I know, I've got to do a new episode out. And then we have clips to post on social media. It's a streamlined process. So that's the number one mistake people make. The second is they quit. You know, well, this, that, and well, I had this come up and that come up. And then the other reason, the other mistake people make is that the excuses, you know? You're just lying to yourself. It's all bullshit. Well, we're going to start at the end of Q2, maybe the end of Q3. We're going to wait till money ain't funny anymore and cows don't go moo. Yeah, it's all bullshit. You're only lying to yourself. And someone's missing out. Do you understand the thought process behind that? I'm not hosting a podcast and putting content out. I'm not building relationships with people. And I could very well be saying something and delivering something through that conversation that goes, something went off in my brain. And you don't even know who these people are. I consider that a gigantic responsibility. And I ask myself that every day when I don't feel like it. Listen, newsflash, we're never going to feel like it. We're just not. I negotiated with myself until 11:45 this morning for the gym. Well, maybe I'll go walk outside. Nah, I worked out yesterday. Nah. What are you committed to, dude? You're committed to working out once a day. And what's the payoff? Well, I feel great. And I get a protein shake. And I sit in the sauna. And I feel good about myself. Same thing applies when it comes to showing up. Now, I could go through all the logistics and what you need. And I'm just going to give you a brief overview on here, because I don't want any of you going home and spending the rest of the weekend trying to figure out how to start a podcast on your own. That's a terrible idea. I want you, I don't care if it's me, I don't care if it's somebody on your team, whatever it may be, someone to go, here's my ideas, go make it a reality so I can be the star of the show and I can get out there and I can shake hands and build relationships with people with the podcast. But the first thing you want to do when you go, all right, I want to start a podcast, cool. Let's get clear on one thing. Why? Why do I want to start a podcast? You got to get clear on that. Simon Sinek says people don't care what you do, they care why you do it. That's still true today and will continue to be. So getting clear on why you're starting a podcast. I don't want to jump to conclusions in here, but I would say a majority of you probably want to start a podcast to build new relationships.
Yes.
To find new deals. Absolutely. To grow your business, to grow your personal brand, to become an authority in your space, to become that go-to. Because I'm telling you right now, you got investor number one, investor number two, deciding who he wants to do or she wants to do business with. And one of you has a podcast and one of you doesn't. One of you's creating content. One of you's done something that the other person didn't do. Hate to tell you, that person's getting the deal. Why? Because people do business with who they know, like, and trust. And when you reach out and do something for somebody right out of the gate, you got them. That's why I started doing comedy. I was terrified of it. Terrified of comedy. But I go deliver a keynote in front of 5,000 people, no problem. Figure that one out. But go 50 drunk people, I'm out. So I had a guy that started Miami Comedy on my podcast a couple years ago. And I told him that story. And he's like, dude, there's no way. You're scared of doing comedy. And I said, oh yeah, I am. He goes, I've been following you for a few years, like you're a speaker, right? I go, yeah. He goes, I tell you what, we got an open mic in Doral next week. I'm like, oh, lucky me, Doral. And he goes, why don't you come out? And I said, all right, what's 5 minutes on an open mic? You can bring your notes, it's amateur hour. So I get there, and he's like, hey man, thanks for coming. You're third up. And I'm like, cool. On the open mic, right? He goes, no, in the showcase. Don't bomb. And I was like, this guy set me up. And it was a brewery out there. I forget what the Tripping Animals brewery out in El Dorado. And packed. And I just so happened, I was working with a guy I went to high school with. It's a brilliant writer. Will never do comedy, but he's a brilliant writer. So we would do these writing sessions, and he was just brilliant. And he said, dude, you're in Doral. You got to write a bit about dating a Venezuelan that wanted papers and that fed you a bunch of empanadas. And I'm like, okay, cool. Totally crushed. The whole room was full of Venezuelans. It was amazing. It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. So I was able to get over that fear because I decided to show up. I've been doing comedy ever since, not to go do clubs, not to have my next Netflix special, but just to know I can do it. I come down here and hit a mic every now and then just for, see if I still got it. Hosted a show in Dallas with a mastermind group I'm part of. I rented their theater out and had all of our fellow mastermind members there and invited all my Dallas friends there. Did a 45-minute special. Check plus, could do 45 minutes of comedy. Because I decided to get out of my comfort zone and show up. Because somebody was going to miss out. Because I know for damn sure, I'm giving you something if I'm making you laugh. And you probably like me. And chances are, if I made you laugh and you like me, you're probably going to hire me. You see how those things all start to cohesively start to come together? Now, I didn't start comedy. I started the comedy stuff to get over the fear. But I also did it for my speaking career in my business. Because if you're hosting an event and you got speaker number 1, and then you got speaker and comedian number 2, who's getting the gig? Probably me, because I can deliver a keynote and I can roast all of your attendees at the cocktail hour. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. But you have to be willing to get out of your comfort zone and lean in and go, I don't really know what's possible. I don't know what's on the other side of this. But it's got to be way better than sitting here and absorbing all this fear and knowing. Like, think about that. I have people go, holy cow, Sebastian, that one question rocked my world. Good. It rocked mine too. Who's missing out? Because you're not showing up. Now, I'm not saying, maybe it's a podcast. Maybe it's whatever your thing is. I don't know. Maybe we'll start playing. I recently started playing tennis again. Grew up playing tennis. Love the sport. Just recreationally. I went and bought I'm dating myself here, but the Reebok pumps. The Michael Changs. I bought those bad boys. Pump those bad boys up. And there's a court with classes every day. 7 to 10 a.m. every morning in the Gables. $300 a month. Whenever you want to go. And I'm like, let's go. I started showing up. I love it. It's great. I'm out there with a bunch of housewives and their Starbucks and their Range Rovers. And I'm like, yeah, this guy doesn't have a job. No, I'm a podcaster and a comedian. I can play tennis at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday. When we're willing to get outside of our car. But I also don't know who I'm going to meet at a tennis court in Coral Gables. Think they maybe know somebody? I mean, based on the parking lot. They know somebody, or they're married to somebody, or somebody knows somebody. Just crazy. You just never know how you're going to make those connections. And you just never know where your next deal's coming from. But I guarantee you, it ain't coming from nowhere if you're on the sidelines. You can't win the game unless you're in the game. Way too many bench warmers out there. I was in the gym yesterday. And I was on the elliptical. And this girl was drinking her Celsius. That stuff's disgusting, by the way. And she drops it. She's probably my daughter's age. My daughter's 23. And she drops it on the treadmill. Picks her can up. And just walks out. Celsius all, you know what like a Celsius could do to a treadmill once it's all like in the, And I automatically thought to myself, another asshole with the thought process of somebody else will handle it. So I got off the elliptical. I grabbed some wipes. Got down there, started wiping it up. Who's it, Gandhi? Be the difference you want to see in this world? I want to be that. I don't know about you guys. I want to leave people different. I want you to walk out of this room today and go, I will never forget Sebastian Rusk, whether I hear from him ever again. He spoke life into me and my business and my thought process. That's what I'm here to do. That's my God-given talent. That's why I was put on this planet. To be able to infiltrate my gifts and talent with the world. Otherwise, what are we doing? There's a clock ticking none of us can see at all. What are you doing with the time we got here? Is it just about making money? Just about that next deal? Or is it about the quality of the relationships that we have in our lives? Why do I bring all this up? Is podcasting, it's all weaved into this process. Who you get to become, the relationships you get to build, how it impacts your family, those you love and care about and get to do life with, how it impacts your business. Somebody told me a long time ago, Sebastian, money is a byproduct of doing what you love. And I never understood that until I just didn't care anymore about how much money I was making. But I cared more about the impact that I was making. And I had a client call me a couple years ago and she said, Sebastian, what you do has very little to do with podcasting and everything to do with life. She was at a personal development event on a Saturday night at 6 o'clock, had this giant breakthrough about her mom and her grandma, the whole nine, calls me bawling on a Saturday night. I'm helping her with a podcast. And it was that moment I thought, wait, this is way bigger than you, dude. This is way bigger than just a podcast. You see, the podcast is just the vehicle. Who we get to become, that's the big mystery out there. Never gonna happen unless we're willing to actually get up and get in the game. Is this resonating with everybody? Is this clicking? Because I'm not here to give you a big how-to on how to come up with a podcast name. We'll talk a little bit about that for a couple minutes, but that's the micro. Let's talk about the macro. Because I'm living the macro right now. And I'm just getting started. I mean, this is year 9 for us with the podcasting world. And I am just revving the engines, just getting going. And podcasting is exploding right now. I was in Brooklyn last week for On Air Fest. That was put on by, I found out about it through Bloomberg. And I got there and I talk about a little tiny minnow in a big gigantic sea, but I left so encouraged. Meeting creators and podcasters and brands. Like, this shit ain't going nowhere at all. It has replaced traditional radio as we know it, and will always be that way. Just like YouTube and streaming content has replaced television, so has podcasting with radio. Now, there's a lot of this stuff's bleeding over into this whole video and podcast, and video podcasts don't exist. That's a very unpopular opinion, but your podcast does have a video component to it. You record it on Zoom. You have camera set up, you record in a studio. You're recording a video of the podcast recording, yes. But a podcast, by definition, is an audio file uploaded to the internet to be consumed auditorily. Everybody kind of, and that's just confusion, and YouTube is trying real hard to hang in the podcast game. But I think it's also, the people's confusion on what a piece of content actually is, It's like, hey, I saw your Facebook post the other day, great podcast. I was like, it was a picture. So people are wildly confused on that. I think YouTube is extremely powerful as a video platform. People go to YouTube for 2 reasons: to be entertained, to get their questions answered. If you can do all 3, fantastic. But I've been whittling away at that YouTube game for about 5 years now. And we've been able to do it. I mean, I want to know wildly successful, other than, getting a phone call of someone going, hey, I just binge watch your channel, I need your help, and hiring you on the spot. That feels amazing. Doesn't happen a lot, but it's happened. It's all I need. It's happened twice. I'm good. But what I really love are the comments. Not from the trolls, from, Smarty Pants 99 with no profile picture in his parents' basement telling me what a piece of shit I am. But the people that say, hey, you know what? This is exactly the answer that I needed for what I was looking for. Thank you. Another touch point. Another dot connected. Check plus on the impact on there. YouTube's great. And it's a great way to edify yourself. But get really, 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 really good at one platform. And then go, okay, cool. We're 50 episodes in on the podcast. It's streamlined. The production's handled. We've monetized it because we're building relationships and we're closing deals with those people we're building relationships with. Cool, podcast works. Let's take a look at what it looks to launch a podcast or a YouTube strategy. And then start introducing that. The reason people go 7 episodes and quiz, they try to be everything to everybody. I got to be everywhere. Because if you're not everywhere, well, then they don't know about you. It's a big myth, And I think that once we get really, really good at one platform and you find your lane, you may not even be interested in another platform. We create content for YouTube, but I do it because it's my responsibility. That's why I wrote a book. That's why I give talks. Not everybody can afford to hire us. But you can read my book, you can go to my YouTube channel, and you can learn all my secrets. It's your responsibility to share your expertise with the world, whether or not people can give you $1 or not. I firmly believe that. That's another game changer. A huge, huge mindset shift for a majority of people. What? Do something? Yeah, do something for nothing, dude. Do something for somebody that can never do anything for you. Imagine that. How do you feel when you do that? Homeless guy asks for $1. I'm like, I'm not going to buy your whiskey, but I'll buy you a pub sub. You like turkey or ham? They always decline. Isn't that crazy? They always decline the food. It's amazing. So we talked about the first step of starting a podcast. Why am I starting a podcast? You want to create a name, something that's catchy, something that's relatable. You want to go search and find out what's already out there. So just pull up Apple Podcast and type in all your names. You can also go to ChatGPT. We now got the robots on our side. And we can say, hey, I'm looking to start a podcast. I am an investor that focuses in this area of investing. I connect with these type of investors. We work on these type of deals. I'm launching a podcast. My name is this. My company name is this. Give me 10 names I could call the podcast. And let the robots go to work. Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes they're just really stupid. A lot of dumb robots out there. That's one hack to be able to go figure it out. Cross-reference that back to ChatGPT and find out what's already out there. Next, your cover art. This is another big, huge, gigantic mistake people make. There's a lot of bad cover art out there, like really bad. You are judged based on how your brand shows up and how people see it. If you open up Canva and you decide you want to be a graphic designer, people are going to know. You need something that's clean, something that is aesthetically appealing, that complements your brand, that looks good. When you look at a brand, you're like, that's dope. Like, I want to do business with that. I want to know more about that. I resonate with that. It does something internally to us. So you want to make sure that that is on point. So don't try to be a graphic designer unless maybe that's your skill set and your gift. I know Canva's got a bunch of templates for podcast cover art, and you can try. I'm yet to see someone come and go, here's what I've done. What do you think? And I go, are you open to feedback? Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah. The truth will set you free, but first it'll really fucking piss you off. Yeah, that's the reality. So cover art, your intro and your outro, that's the beginning of every podcast episode. It's got music playing, a quick little voiceover, short and sweet. We don't need a 2-minute dissertation and overview on what your podcast is all about. That's what your podcast teaser or trailer is all about. Quick and to the point. Welcome to the show. A podcast about, and now, here's your host. Let's get started. Music fades out, episode starts. Outro. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. We sure do appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe wherever you consume podcasts. Follow us on socials. If you feel so inclined, please leave us a review. Tell a friend about the show. Until next time, friends, music fades out. Outro, bookends for each episode. Okay? It's a must. No raw content just being uploaded. Well, at least it's done. Yeah. Shit. Yeah. It's done, but it's shit. And then your podcast trailer, promo, it's like think like movie trailer. It's 60 to 90 seconds long. Who, what, why, and where of the podcast. If you go to Spotify, at the beginning of every podcast, they should at least have a trailer or a teaser on there that'll tell you about the show. So if I go, hey, my podcast is called Beyond the Story, you go to Spotify, and you go to Beyond the Story, and you scroll up to read about it, you can also listen to the trailer. Same thing with Podcasts Suck. Gives you an idea of what the show's all about before you commit. We're all non-committal with content. I don't know about this yet. A teaser could hook, line, and sinker people in after they read the description of it and they listen to the teaser. Very important. Plus, you can use it as a promo piece. You can turn it into an audiogram where you put your cover art, then the audiogram on there, and save it as a video file and promote the show. It's got the squiggly little sound lines. And then start to map out what the episodes look like. Are these solo episodes? Are you sharing your expertise? If you are, no more than 8 to 10 minutes. Nobody wants to hear your babble for a half hour. And then if it's an interview series, 30 minutes. Okay, don't waste people's time. Get in, get out. People like that. We're not Joe Rogan. You're never going to be Joe Rogan. I hate to, let the air out of everyone's balloon, but, he's the GOAT. He can go for 2.5, 3 hours. Your favorite comedian, they can go for 2, 3 hours, and you want to hear them because they're making you laugh and you like the content. It takes you a week to listen to the episode, but you'll listen to it. But the average person is not going to go for an hour or 2 hours on a podcast episode. A little extreme. Plus, your guest likes it too. Oh, 30 minutes? That's it? I got 30 minutes. Think about when you listen to a podcast too. I love it when I pull up an episode and it's 10 minutes long. I'm like, I got 10 minutes. I pull up a Rogan episode. I was like, well, we start this Monday. We should have it wrapped up by the end of the week. So short and sweet. Episode 1 should always be your pillar episode that's an extension of the teaser. So it's 8 to 12 minutes long, and you're introducing the show yourself, what the show's all about, what to expect from the show, and then you're diving into whatever the format is, episode 2. Solo, interview, hybrid, whatever it may be. And then figure out a recording schedule. Because if you think it's Monday morning, time to record another podcast episode, that is not sustainable. What is sustainable is going, hey, every other week on Wednesday from 2 to 4, we time block that out, we bang out 2 to 4 episodes, we're done with the podcast for the month. The more episodes you can get ahead, the better off you are. Because you're putting 4 out a month. I know, not me, I want to do it. No, listen, start with 4. I've not seen anybody. I have clients all the time going, eventually we're going to get to 1 a day. I said, okay, I want what you want. I don't want to shatter your dreams here. I've never seen that happen for both myself or anybody. It's just not sustainable. Once a week is good enough. It allows you to extract enough content for your socials for every single day of the week. And it doesn't seem like work. You have to understand that when anything starts to feel like work, it's not fun. And when it's not fun, we quit. It's human nature. We've got to keep the fun element to this. This is fun. Now, the business aspect is I'm interviewing people I want to build relationships with. We're working on a show right now with a guy that coaches doctors. And high-level doctors that are up to really cool things, make a ton of dough, have a successful practice, but that's about all they got. Like, they could be doing so much more. They can be writing a book, they can start a podcast, they can start a coaching group, they can do all this other stuff. So he does some really cool stuff with doctors. And the podcast is a vehicle to get in front of more doctors, the right doctors, and interview them and put them into his 90-day coaching program and continue to scale that up. And he is adamant about it. He came to me with it because that's usually what I'm teaching anyway. He said, no, I got it. I know exactly what you do because I want to do it. So when you enter the podcast game knowing this is my networking tool, this is my money-making tool, this isn't a content, you don't have to do anything. That's life and business. We don't have to do anything. We get to do it though. And it's your decision whether or not you want to do it. But you don't have to do anything. But you get to. I love that. I get to do it. Oh, I have to do it. No, you don't. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do at all. So once you figure out your episodes, just get consistent and just stay in the game. Our program is, bless you, our program is 15 months long. It's a 90-day launch program. We work together one-on-one. I'm not sending you to a course. I'm not putting you in a group. I'm not telling you to go to my Facebook group. We're rolling up our sleeves for 90 days. For the first 30 days, we get in there and we do a call every single week. And we create the strategy, brand, idea, concept, who you're talking to, what you're talking about, how you're talking about it, why you're talking about it, how to talk, how to sound, how do I do this, how do I find a guest. Every single thing you could ever possibly need in order to launch a podcast in 90 days or less, including your first 2 episodes. So your cover art, your intro, your outro, all the stuff we just got done talking about, included in the 90-day launch program. Then we launch the show. After that, you go into our 12-month incubator, where we then do 4 episodes a month for you and 12 pieces of micro content. So that's 3 clips per episode. So you see how the streamlined process works? All I'm doing is recording 4 episodes, uploading the raw content to Sebastian's team, moving on with my day. And we do that for 15 months. And after that 15 month, the odds of you quitting are slim to none. Now, if you quit in the middle of all that, that's on you. We talked about it in the beginning. When we first got started, it's a 15-month deal. This isn't about locking somebody into a contract and all of this. I'll let you out of a contract whenever you want out. This is about doing what you said you're going to do. Keeping your word. 4 agreements. Anyone read it? Yeah. Be impeccable with your word. What does it look like to say, I'm going to start a podcast and I'm sticking to it, regardless? Why? Because I said I was going to. That's where the magic happens. And that's where the clients that I see, I've got a real estate investor in Delaware, wildly successful. Just, as my buddy Rich would say, paid in full, this guy. He does not need a podcast, but he started one. It's called Wake Up to Wealth, top 10 real estate and business podcasts out there. He spent about 6 months aggressively marketing and doing an ad campaign, which is the best way to get to 50, 60,000 downloads per episode. Probably spent 6 figures doing that. Now being approached by sponsors, has monetized it, probably yields between $30,000 to $50,000 a month in sponsorship dollars. Wow. He called me a couple months ago. He said, so what do we do? It's time to monetize this thing with sponsors. What do I do? I go, well, that's not really my lane, but we'll figure it out. He goes, I never set out to make money with this. I just want to put content out and build relationships. I say, well, here we are. You have a 5-figure podcast business as a wildly successful real estate investor that loves to wear Versace shirts. Wild. He's become a keynote speaker, has built relationships now. He's crushing stages. The guy has just done so much outside of his already wildly successful real estate business because he made a decision that he knew, you know what, this isn't really about me. It's about the relationships I can build. It's about the expertise I can share. And it's about sharing other people's story of wealth. I know how I got wealthy. I want to tell other people's story. And he ends every episode. saying, so Sal, what's your definition of waking up to wealth? And everybody's answer is different. But I'm proud of what Brandon's done because he didn't have to do it. He didn't need to do it. And those are my most successful clients. They don't need a podcast. I don't need this. Somebody else does though. And that's why I'm doing it. I got another client locally here, just moved here from Trinidad. Came here on a work visa, started a company, and has done really well, does retail point of sale for retail locations. Everything up until swiping the card. So the hardware, the rewards program, etc. We play a lot of golf together. And we're walking out of breakfast a couple months ago up in West Palm. And he's like, hey man, how'd it go on the podcast last week? 10 locations. I made $50,000 on that podcast interview. I'm like, what? All casual. I'm like, I'm sorry. I wasn't really paying attention. I was on my phone. And I was like, I'm sorry. Come again? He goes, yeah, I interviewed the guy. He's got 10 locations. I signed him up on the spot right after the interview. It yielded $50,000 in revenue. You're paid for like, I go, yeah, for a long time. Those are the things that are starting to, but he is so fired up and so gung-ho about this podcast. We sponsored an event together. He had a booth next to me. This guy had coffee cups. He had keychains. He had a banner with a QR code. It's called Retail Checks and Balances. It's the name of his podcast. But he's fired up and excited about it. He's making money with it because he gets it. And he sees it. He sees the macro. Forget about the micro. Forget about what's in it for me right now. What else is possible? What about the unseen out here? Doing wildly successful things with it because he's committed. But I'm also committed to holding them accountable for doing what they say they're going to do. And that's a huge component. Hey man, it's been a couple weeks, no episodes uploaded. What's going on? Everything good? You want to talk? We build a relationship together. We start to do life together. We become friends. We hang out. We do business. Because again, what I do has very little to do with podcasting, a lot to do with life. I don't have all the answers. We're all in this game figuring it out. We're all in this whole experience called life, figuring it out. But it's a lot better to go through life doing it with people that you align with, people that get it, people you resonate with. Not a better way to build relationships like that than with a podcast. Hey man, let's get you on the podcast. Yeah, I'd love that. So I don't know where we're at with time, but
Yeah, no, we're good. This is great. Is this great or what? Is this really resonating?
appreciate it.
And then, just a question I have is that we're on the age of ChatGPT, and it seems like a lot of content is robot slop. Podcasts will never be effective because of the authenticity of the voice, right?
Right. Yeah, there's already solutions out there. I mean, I call them solutions. I don't think that they are of a AI co-host. I come back to my original statement on AI, and I don't think any of us are racing to replace the human experience. I'll marry a robot, but that's about it.
I hear that.
As long as there's a mute button, I'm in.
I got a quick question for you. Is there like an ideal amount of episodes you should or like a release schedule? Should it be a weekly, monthly?
Yeah, once a week.
Once a week.
Yeah, once a week. Bulk record. In the beginning, every week, we're going to block off 2 hours and we're going to do 2 to 3 episodes, and we're going to stockpile them. If we do 2 episodes once a week in the first month, we got 8 episodes. We're already 4 episodes ahead. We got 4 in the hopper. So we got our first month done and the next month. We keep recording that way. Then there's nothing better than knowing, hey, listen, I got 12 in the hopper, ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
But this whole idea of, we got to do it. It's Monday, time for another podcast episode.
That was my mistake, and it was more of, I guess it wasn't a podcast because I was on YouTube live. So
Right.
It was more of a show.
That could be, you could go live. So how I record podcasts is I go live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And then my team will go and extract the audio and then edit it as a podcast episode. So I get the live interaction and a video component and the video archive to chop up into micro content. And so it's 3 pieces of content for 20 minutes of my time. So I get on there and go live. People can interact and comment, etc. You never know who you're reaching live because those people may not listen to podcasts. It's live on my YouTube channel, so it's technically a YouTube video on there. It's live on LinkedIn. They're going in. That's the most powerful platform out there. LinkedIn is slept on. Yeah. It's not there. Hey, LinkedIn's not there for you to find jobs, okay? Sure, there's a job component.
How did you just, I missed how you linked that, you went I heard podcast and LinkedIn.
Yeah, so I record one of my podcasts. I go live on LinkedIn Live,
Oh, okay,
YouTube Live, and then Facebook Live video.
gotcha.
And then we pull the audio from that archived video, edit the podcast episode, put an intro and outro on it, clean up the audio a little bit, and then take the video archive and chop it up into Reels content.
Let me ask you one other question.
Sure.
There's a very important person in my life who has a moderately successful food blog that managed to get her on television for 10 episodes of a cooking show, blah, blah, blah. And she's being slaughtered. The blogging is just being slaughtered right now because you do a search, you know, and you get the answers you're looking for rolled up into AI and whatnot. And she's been reticent to do video and such. Is there, I mean, so if you had that kind of a profile, food blogger, but is that, you know, in my mind, boy, I gotta watch the cooking, but I don't know. What would you, is your,
I think it's a preference. Do I want an answer right now, or am I willing to just take a second and watch a quick video? Now,
very conversational in writing when her whole theme is basically family food of the world.
yeah.
So,
Well, ChatGPT does have a search component in it now, or search result component in there. Before it wasn't. Now it's giving you answers and a link to specific sources online
The
too.
revenue is going through the floor because the blogging, the ad revenue.
Well, it's just saturated.
Blogging is,
Well, it's saturated and then AI shows up. There's a terrible combination.
exactly, and YouTube keeps screwing up the algorithm. So I'm just wondering, you know, is there a place in your mind for podcasting for that?
Maybe stories about food, but I mean, food's something I want to look and
That's
see.
the whole thing, so that's-
Yeah, it could be a component where, you know, you're able to, I just, when I think of food show, I got to see the food.
Yeah.
I want to see it. We just launched
That's what I thought.
podcast for a large hospitality group here in Miami and Fort Lauderdale. They have the Wharf, they've got Regatta, they've got John Martin's and Coral Gables, and it's a hospitality talk, and they have conversations with other people in the hospitality industry. But there's a huge video component. And they've got a video team, et cetera, that kind of capture that aspect of it. So that's important when it's, you know, aesthetically appealing.
Someone online asked, what's the name of your book?
Podcasts Suck. You can go to podcastsuck.com/book. Or you can go to podcastsuck.com and subscribe to the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's on your shirt.
And it's on my shirt. Required uniform. Any other questions?
One more quick one.
Yeah, no, you got a lot more. Hey, hold on, Hector. We got people in the back.
No.
Joshua Goodman.
Hi, Sebastian O'Neill, Joshua.
Hold on, before I forget this, let me set the record straight. There are not too many podcasts out there already, okay? Are there too many podcasts out there, Sebastian? No. You know what my response is? Are there too many books? People are going to stop writing them? No, because the rapid rate of people starting and stopping podcasts are going to be the same as people that start books and never end up writing them. Or the people that actually write them. Hey, listen, you're creating something for your community and your ecosystem that you're creating. It doesn't matter. Forget about what else is out there. There's too many of this, there's too many of that. Focus on what you're doing in the lane that you're in.
Hi, strategic question here. So like, I mean, maybe this depends on your niche, but like the best days to release your, you know, your podcast, like on a Monday or Friday. I think it's more optimizing for the listeners, or like maybe convenience.
I think it's more about, hey, listen, every Tuesday at 10 a.m. is when the podcast drops. So whenever your day is, our hospitality client likes Mondays. Mondays is kind of like the hospitality day off anyway, or like a lighter day. So they liked Mondays as well. Just pick a day. I wouldn't do Sunday morning. But
Advertise, you know, like, oh, we do it every Wednesday. Right?
yeah, new episodes every week on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Just pick a day and time. Stay with that. Yeah. Well, think about your favorite content that you like, and then when they miss a week, you're like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
I listen to the Daily Stoic every day with Ryan Holiday. I read the Daily Stoic, and then it's a compliment for the daily episode too. If he misses a day, I'm like, where the fuck is Ryan? You know?
He's not dead.
Right.
Yeah, my question was on when you're doing over the internet, like, you know, Zoom. What's the best platform to use?
Zoom or Riverside.fm. Zoom is user-friendly. That's why I don't say, yes, Riverside is going to improve the quality, audio and video quality of your guest, because it records locally and then upload on the person's machine and then uploads to Riverside. But I mean, we can't give people more credit about technology than we think, because we automatically think, well, you can just click on this link, right? The pandemic did one thing for all of us, taught us how to use Zoom. So when you, in the way you set things up, by the way, when you're booking guests, to automate that process. So if you're using Go High Level or Calendly or whatever you're doing, set up an event, a calendar event, my podcast, 10 questions, name, company name, phone number, bio, social media handles, put your availability. Don't put Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. People can book wherever. It'll be a disaster. Say, hey, we record on Tuesdays and Thursdays between 11 and 2. That way it's real time. You connect your calendar. It's real time availability. That way when I'm like, hey man, let's get you on the podcast, you're like, cool, what's the best way to do it? Here's a link to book a time and day that works for you. It's seamless. Because the last thing we want to do in 2025 is be like, how's Wednesday? Wednesday didn't work. How's Tuesday? Can't do Tuesday. How's Friday? Friday didn't work. We're not doing that at all. Here's the link. None of those times work. I guess you're not a fit for the show. Sometimes you really want to get somebody on there like, I can't ever do Tuesdays and Thursdays. Cool. Let's go back to 1995 and let me look at my calendar and I'll hit you back. Make an exception. But you want to streamline that process. That calendar technically should be connected somehow to your CRM. Go High Level does it all. So it's your CRM, it's your landing page, it's your calendars, it's everything. So if you book to be on my show, you're automatically in my ecosystem and you're automatically in my CRM and you're going to get all the stuff that I'm sending out.
Ask him. I was just
What was
gonna
that name?
Go High Level. Where do you guys hang out online? Mainly?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Okay, cool. Everybody take out your phone and pull up the LinkedIn app. This way we can stay in touch. There used to be an option that everyone could turn on Bluetooth and it would pop up and everybody in the room would show up and I could just add everybody, but that feature went away. But the QR code still think works, but I think I'm a little too far from that. But add me, Sebastian Rusk, Sebastian, Rusk, R-U-S-K. Click the 3 dots and then click connect. Otherwise, I don't know if you follow me, you can message me. But if you connect with me, then you can message me.
Sebastian, did you say 30 minutes was the ideal?
Yeah,
length?
yeah. So if you do 45 minutes, cool. But like, let's shoot for 30. But this whole idea of let's sit around and look at each other for an hour and talk and try to fill that space. If it's a really good conversation and you're like, this is going somewhere and I want to do a deal with this guy or gal and the conversation's going good, entertain the time, but have some boundaries. Boundaries are important in business and in life and podcasting.
Sebastian, did you get a PhD in high school? Did I read that right?
I got my PhD at the University of Hard Knocks. It's in West Kendall.
In the hood.
Right up in these streets.
This is great. Any other? I mean, this has probably been we've had more questions here than most others. Any other?
Are there any, in terms of using podcasts for building relationships, what's your process like after a podcast or any session, like any particular habits that you suggest doing?
Yes.
Follow up?
That's why I want to do 30 minutes, because I want to interview you for 30 minutes and I want to chop it up with you for a few minutes too. So block an hour, 25, 30 minutes for the episode. Okay, we're done. End recording. That was great. Thanks again for your time. So tell me a little bit more about what you're working on, what deals you got going on. And I have this and then that often leads to, when I get done, I'm like, so when are you starting a podcast, Sal? You know, I've been thinking about that. Cool, we should set up a time. Or cool, let's do it right now. I got my calendar open right now. How's next Tuesday? 10 a.m. work? Cool, talk to you then. There we go. Booked a sales call on the interview. Same time, same place. Optimizing the time that you have with people. Sometimes it doesn't always happen that way, but you got all their contact info because they booked the call. And that info should be in your CRM at a bare minimum. It's in Calendly or whoever your calendar solution is. So you got the ability to follow up with them, but create some sort of flow of knowing, hey, listen, on the podcast Tuesday, if we didn't book a meeting, let me follow up next Tuesday. Shoot them an email. Hey, thanks again for being on the show. I know you mentioned something about this. We're working on this. I'd love to talk to you about this other deal. We may be able to get figured out. Here's a link to my calendar. If we can book a call and chat about that, I'd love to see what's possible. Just cool. Like the Fonz. Dating myself again. The Fonz was on a show called Happy Days. Way
Can I
back
ask a
when.
question? I don't know if you already said it, so I'll say it.
It's okay.
Did you talk about the people, your audience that are coming to watch your podcast? You're capturing their information? Like, not information, but at least something that...
Yeah, so the description of your podcast episode should have, they're called show notes. So there should be some sort of call to action in there. So here's my Instagram link, follow me. I want some way to get you into my ecosystem. For me, I have a sales page, a landing page, podcastlaunch.now.com brings them right to a page that says start a podcast. They type in their name, email, phone number, they're brought to a calendar page, they can book a call with me. And that you can find that on all my socials. If you go to my LinkedIn, it's right under my picture. It says book a call.
Yeah. Well, for capital raising anyway, I thought surely there's a way to get them funneled in to get their information, to start emailing them and mailing them and visiting them.
Yeah, there is. If they're a guest, that's what we're talking about with capturing their information. You make sure they're in their CRM. If they're listening to the show, in the show notes, there should be some sort of landing page. Another thing Go High Level does as well, where you...
That.
Is this online right here? I'm going to show you.
Open a new tab.
Just a PC?
And the modem is back there.
You guys can write this down too, but it's in all my bios on Instagram. Instagram's podcast suck. This is my landing page. And name, email, phone number, and the next page comes in my calendar. After you book a call here, I got a video on the next page too, telling you why you should book a call and why you should start a podcast. Add some value there. But once you book a call, you're then taken out of an automation. If you type in your information and you don't book a call, I'm going to hammer you over the next 12 days with some pretty comical emails, nudging you to book a call until you unsubscribe and tell me to fly a kite. But they're comical. The emails are very tongue-in-cheek, very, brash comedy, where you kind of laugh. You're like, okay, this is cool. Or I hate it. But for you guys looking to massage the pipeline of potential investors, people you're building relationships with, figure out what that pipeline looks like.
Yeah. Nils.
I don't know about you. I mean, I don't know what you're looking for, but I'm looking for my next deal. That's kind of what I would, where I would head with that, where there's a little bit of, like, you got to get outside our conventional space, the investor world. I mean, come on, punch me in the face.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Other than like happy hours and like this type of unconventional environment, it's like, beam me up, Scotty. Hello, Vanna, can I buy a vowel? Wow. So you got to figure out a way to make it fun. I think podcast is a great way to do that. Great way to kind of mix it up a little bit.
I can't wait.
I hope I'm still alive when Sal launches his podcast.
Can you tell he's a comedian?
What camera equipment do you prefer?
Just get an, I have if you go to podcastlaunchlab.com, which is our main website, you can download my equipment guide. Podcast.
Also, guys, I have a buddy that has a whole podcast studio he's renting out, and with a technician as well.
Oh, nice.
I don't know what his price is and whatever.
I'm sure it's expensive as hell if it's in Miami.
I always say, like, figure out what you've got with the space that you're in. You need a 3x4 space. Like, what is your background right here of where you're at? I just brought my studio home. We just built the 5th one. But I would go rent executive suites for like $1,000 a month. Yeah. And then I would go in there and I would completely deck the entire place out as a podcast studio, which I thought I was going to rent out, but I don't want people in my space. So I just kept it as my own creative playground. But I just moved into a 2-bedroom. So I made the 2nd bedroom. I'm back to work from home and I love it. Nothing better. Nothing better. Just walking down the hall and boom, I'm in my studio. But my whole work area, my whole background, I got fake brick and I got some funky art and got a little on-air sign, and that's my little space right there. I have a whole studio space and 2 chairs with like an accent wall behind it that if I wanted to record in person, I could. But getting people anywhere in 2025 is like walking cats. It's just a royal pain in the ass. You know why? Because if I can book something online and it's on your calendar and you have to click a link,
that's it.
And we can record the episode, we're good. Just make sure you look good and you sound good. So download this. And then that's pretty much my Amazon store and all my recommendations on there. You need an HD webcam, a ring light, and a decent USB mic. There's one on there that's the Audio Technica. It's $59. The audio quality on that's exceptional. Fits right in a purse or a backpack. Webcam's that big. That new Logitech Brio, it's like $200. Outstanding quality. And a ring light's like $50.
It sound like something. I'm invited to participate. I'm not a host. What tips would you like to give me for speaking?
Nice, good question.
Well, it's the host's job to keep the pace.
The audience is all the investors.
Right.
Thousands of them.
Right. So value, 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 value. I'm here today to talk to you about what you don't know that you don't know about the world of investing. And I hope, and it's my hope, that you leave this interview with at least one thing that you didn't know about the world of investing. I'm really excited to be here. Let's get started.
You need to give them dopamine. You can't sound like everybody else.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But be you.
Sound like dopamine or no?
What?
When I showed you earlier, does that sound like dopamine or no?
That's not dopamine. That's a pitch deck.
I know.
Right.
No, that's not. No, there's no dopamine in a pitch deck.
Right. You've got to and be 100%. Be 100% yourself. Too many people, especially when it comes to content, and if you're new to it, we automatically default into wanting to emulate other people and be what's that quote? Be yourself. Everyone else is taken. Yeah. Like be 100% yourself. Doing that, there's a lot of freedom with that too. I experienced that when I first. That was the downside of working with Gary early on. It was like Gary's like we have the same personality, but I wanted to emulate what he was doing. It was all bullshit. When I just stepped into who I am as Sebastian Rusk and into my power, it all changed, all of it. But that's an internal thing that you go and you adjust and you go and figure out on there. But a lot of people, that's why clients say, well, I don't sound like you. I go, good. Good. We need you to sound like you, 100% you. Because that's what people resonate with. That's where they're like, you know what, there's something different about this guy. I want to do a deal with him. If you think something's funny, say it. Speak your truth. It's okay to do that.
Do most guests stay on topic and really answer your questions?
It's your job as the host to keep them on pace.
Imagine.
Bring them in for landing.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, no.
We're going off on a tangent here. Allow me to step back and take control of the conversation real quick because we've only got 30 minutes. Yeah.
We're weaving in between the yellow, double yellow lines here. Let's bring
Don't let them do the weave.
And most importantly, another big mistake people make when they're interviewing people is that I'm the guest and I'll share my story and experience, and then the host automatically goes, well, I remember when that happened to me, and then they start talking about them and their story. I learned from the great Larry King the 80-20 rule. You're talking 20% of the time, your guest is talking 80% of the time. I joke now, these days, your job as a podcast host is to ask questions and shut the fuck up.
Yep.
Let them talk. Let them talk and control the conversation at the same time. It is a dance. But too many of us want to step in and make it all about us.
Is it safe for me to interrupt
my left does that on this
the
podcast.
host if he starts talking too much?
Excuse me, I'm here to speak.
Yeah, I've done it before. I've said, hey, who's the guest?
I don't know who these guys are, but remember, you're asking open-ended questions, but I guess so. You're like, look, bring it back. You gotta.
They might kick you out though if you piss them off too much.
I don't care.
That'd be a
I
good
don't
one.
care about that.
I've never been kicked off of one. I've said some
Find
raunchy stuff.
Yeah, don't get too caught up in hypotheticals.
Yeah, don't get.
My coach doesn't allow hypothetical questions to be asked on our weekly calls. He says that they are manipulative
Yeah.
and irrelevant. So you're not allowed to say, his name's Dan Martell, he's fantastic, by the way, follow him, he's amazing. He wrote a book called, Buy Back Your Time. Yeah,
he's fantastic.
Yeah, no, that guy is, I always say, it's hard to argue with ripped, rich, and rare. Yeah. That guy's all of them, man, that guy is a superhuman, wowza. Got me as a client, he teaches sell by chat through Instagram. So he hits you up and he's like, hey, thanks for following me. Are you here for the content or here to grow your business? Yeah. And then walks you through this whole process, and I was hook, line, and sinker $9,000 later. But the ROI on the group has been, I'm like the podcast guy in the group. Plus, what I learned from the guy on a daily basis is absolutely unbelievable. But There's no, so Dan, if you owned a podcast agency, would you, he'll be like, dude, shut the fuck up with the hypothetical questions. Like he's in your face, which is what every business owner, entrepreneur needs. Like he is hardcore, but we all need a hug with a slap in the back of the head. We love the truth, just not initially,
Love it.
So do you do, with your package, do you do consulting, meaning, you sit down with us after the podcast and make suggestions, hey, don't do this, don't do that, type thing?
I get you prepped enough getting started that we usually don't have to go retrack back. We don't have to retrack our steps to find out what's working and what's not. And if you got a problem, hit me up. We'll jump on a call. You got me.
You're not doing a post-mortem, like what happened, right?
Done is better than...
It's what it is.
I get that. But for stuff that can improve the podcast.
If you're having a problem with something or a challenge or you feel off about something, send me a text and let's have a conversation. I'll bring you back to reality on whether or not you are just way out in left field or it's a legitimate concern and let's fix it. Yeah, but that's part of the whole... I enjoy that process right now where we're not so big that I can't be everything to the clients. So everybody's got my cell phone number. I can hop on a call if we need to. Clients have remote access to me on a monthly basis. And I make that. I want to make sure that they know that I got your back like a jacket. It's important but we do a good job. Like you don't need me once we launch. Like I very rarely talk to the clients unless it's like, hey, it's time to sponsor the show, or hey, what about this guest, or what do you think about this, or what do you think about that, bouncing ideas off. But we do a good job, and we've got a complete assembly line on the back end and a very streamlined process, and my team does a bang-up job making sure that all of our I's are dotted and T's are crossed on there so that we can continue to just grow this thing and become the biggest, baddest podcast launch solution out there. So if any of you want to launch a show, go to one of those links, book a call. I'll walk you through the park. I'll show you what the options are, what it's looking at. It's about a $19,000 investment all in all. $8,000 to launch, $895 a month for 12 months. So that's what you're looking at. And again, the idea, how many deals you need to make 19 grand? Probably not a lot.
One investor, two
right.
investors, right? Two investors.
And I'm saying, the first deal, we're going to be doing business for a long time. Yeah. And we don't know when that first deal comes. I get asked that a lot too. How many interviews? I don't know. I'd be lying to you. Could be the first. Could be 6 months from now. But when it happens, you go, damn it, this shit works. And that's the way it's always going to be. It's really becoming the norm, and people are already starting to talk about it. How to utilize podcasts as a sales tool, as a networking tool. I think it's the ultimate networking tool. Yeah. I do. You have to go anywhere. You have to buy drinks. You have to. It's just let's get you on the podcast. Let's get into it's one-on-one. It's intimate. People like it.
If you sign up with Sebastian, I'll do a podcast with you. You can record it with me. It'll be varnished.
In terms of like backgrounds, behind us on the wall or whatever, is there any it's like for me, like I'm an absolute dork, so like I want to have my Charlie Munger poster on the wall, but I feel like it might be distracting. Is there any maybe?
Well, that's the biggest thing, distractions. It doesn't need to be a distraction. I think it just needs to be aesthetically appealing. Like I have fake brick behind me. Everyone loves the fake brick, but I've also got a giant Monopoly guy that says the harder I work, the luckier I get. You can only see half the picture. And then I got like a Mr. Brainwash with Charlie Chapman and Mickey Mouse on it. You can only see a portion of it. And then I got Gary V's V-Friend toys sitting on top of an on-air sign. Grown man with toys. Yeah. Don't at me.
Did that answer your question? Yeah.
And find me online, wherever you guys hang out. Instagram is Podcast Suck, plural. Hit me up if you got questions. That's what I'm here for.
Yes!
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.